Hello everyone, it is Jayden and welcome to The Alpha, the show where we talk about the hottest topics in pop culture and sports. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button on the video, and if you enjoy my commentary and myself truly as always, be sure to tap that subscribe button and to hit that notification bell to get notified when all my videos go live. I love you guys so much. Peace, love, and positivity always, y'all. See ya. There was an interesting story that came out last week about Caleb Williams. It was a very alarming story at first, but it's something that happened with Shedeur Sanders and something that happened with the Manning brothers. There was a story that came out talking about Caleb Williams and his pre-draft scenarios that happened or events that happened before he eventually got drafted by the Bears. This has come from a book that is fixing to come out by, I didn't write down who the book was from, but it was a big report that came out and people were making a whole hoopla about it. But here are the details about it. Caleb Williams considered signing with the UFL. Caleb Williams pondered working with the Bears offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron. Caleb Williams' father stated explicitly, Chicago is where QBs go to die. He also said that he didn't want his son playing for the Chicago Bears. Caleb Williams, when he had an interview with Kevin O'Connell, the head coach for the Minnesota Vikings, he originally wanted to go there, and he said he wanted to play for Minnesota. Mind you guys, all of this was in the pre-draft interviews and pre-draft stuff from the combine, all leading up to the draft. All of this is when these events were occurring. Finally, in a pre-draft visit with the Bears, Caleb Williams finally said to himself, he can do it for this team, and I quote, meaning that he was ready to get drafted by the Chicago Bears. This is no surprise, okay? Caleb Williams, at his tenure in college, was regarded as one of the best, greatest college quarterbacks to play the game. He was super talented. A lot of people were comparing him to Patrick Mahomes. A lot of people are still considering Caleb Williams possibly being the next Patrick Mahomes. He won the Heisman Trophy. He arguably could have won 2 of them. This is how good Caleb Williams was. When he was at Oklahoma with Lincoln Riley and followed Lincoln Riley to USC the last 2 years. When Caleb Williams was originally supposed to come out, and the rumors were him coming out of the draft because he had more years of eligibility, and this is when NIL was going on right when during the college tenure of Caleb Williams. And a lot of people were speculating that Caleb Williams was possibly going to skip the draft and play another year of college football and make more NIL money. But we know in these guys' heart of hearts, the ultimate dream is to go to the NFL, to make it to the NFL. Guys, y'all got to understand that before the Bears bye, the Bears had a great record. They were playing some good football. I don't remember exactly what their record was. I wish I would have wrote it down because as I'm talking to you, I didn't think about this point when I was planning this episode of the show. But the Bears had a great record going into their bye. Before the viral play and when they played the Commanders in that game, where Tariq Stevenson was out there celebrating, and then Washington had that big Hail Mary play. I don't know if that was I think that was the first game after their bye. Everything was downhill after that event, but before that, Caleb Williams' tenure with the Bears was off to a relatively solid start. Given the history of the Bears franchise, a franchise who has been football poverty for a very long time since Mike Ditka was there. Okay? Caleb Williams was playing some good ball. Ryan Poles formulated a good team, relatively good team. At the end of the day, the offensive line was the Achilles heel because Caleb Williams was running for his life. Then after that, You had coaching malpractice going on. Matt Eberflus, head coach, in over his head. No, not a good. The offensive coordinator, I can't even remember who exactly they promoted to the head coaching role once they fired Matt Eberflus, in over his head as well. So what did Ryan Poles and the Bears do this offseason? They got the best hot head coach candidate out there in Ben Johnson. They traded and drafted O-linemen, beefing up the offensive line for Caleb Williams. And they bring him in a wide receiver who has a lot of potential in Luther Burden. So now at the wide receiver position, you have DJ Moore, Roman Duze, and Luther Burden, along with a very stud tight end that a lot of people like in Loveland from Michigan. You drafted him at tight end, as well as you have Cole Kmet, alongside a defense that played relatively well last year. So we got to kind of somewhat give Caleb Williams some credit, because he made the Chicago Bears aware that stars don't want to come to this team. A generational talent like Caleb Williams did not want to play for that franchise originally. They made the Bears aware of that, and the Bears have been proactive in trying to formulate a team that is well-rounded and able to meet the needs of Caleb Williams. I don't know why this story was such a big of a deal. I think it turned out to benefit Caleb Williams and the Bears, in my opinion. One can argue that possibly this is a bad look for future quarterbacks coming into the league. This is something that Shedeur Sanders did just this past draft, and it possibly killed his draft stock. But I don't think there's nothing wrong with it. A lot of people, this was after this story had came out, a lot of people were wanting the NFL to adopt the NBA draft lottery and the way they do the draft, and that the top 10 picks are basically put in a lottery system. They put them in this little ball, and it's picked like a lottery. Because a lot of people don't like the aspect that the worst team gets the first pick, and quarterbacks are not put in a good situation. We got to think about the great quarterbacks in the league. The Patrick Mahomes, the Tom Brady's. Patrick Mahomes was a 10th overall pick. He wasn't the top quarterback picked in that draft. He fell into a good situation. Tom Brady fell in a good situation. Lamar Jackson fell in a good situation. Not many quarterbacks are fortunate to have good run franchise be picked first in wherever they're drafted. And in Caleb Williams' defense, he was set up to be drafted by arguably a top 3 worst run franchise in the NFL historically. To the Bears' credit, the last season and a half, since Ryan Poles has been the GM, they're kind of course correcting as we go. So I don't think there's much of this story, specifically with Caleb Williams' father. He's looking out for his kid. He wants his kid to be put in the best position that he wanted to be. There was never no consideration of him going to the UFL. That was just a stupid negotiating tactic to try and get the Bears not to draft his son. That had nothing to do with anything, because like Caleb Williams said, he liked the idea of going to Minnesota, led by Kevin O'Connell. Minnesota is a relatively well-run franchise as well, but there was never no scenario where he was going to the UFL. I don't believe that in no way, form, or aspect. That's just my 2 cents on that story. I wish all the success to Caleb Williams. He deserves his success, and I think Caleb Williams can be a great quarterback for the NFL product and the Bears fans. The Bears have a bright future, and they are a team to look out for, and they are one of my most interesting teams going into the 2025-2026 NFL season. What do you guys think of this story? Let me know all your thoughts and opinions down below in the comments section. What is your outlook of the Chicago Bears going into the 2025-2026 season? Let me know all of that down below in the comments.